A national shutdown is planned for South Africa as public service unions put final touches on their plans to down tools over wages. Major unions representing over 800,000 public sector workers were granted a certificate of non-resolution by the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council this week. This follows a collapse in negotiations between union leaders and the national government on the 3% wage increase announced by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana in his midterm budget. The workers are demanding a 10% increase with lunchtime pickets initiated nationally in preparation for massive strike action. SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi has been following the story and joins us in studio for the latest. Good afternoon, Katlego. So let's just give us a bit of context here in terms of what has transpired since we had the midterm budget statement, because we were talking to some of the union members around how they're feeling around that 3%.
Good afternoon to you, Nastasia, and of course to our viewers at home. It's been a long journey for public servants in trying to make sure that they convince the employer that indeed that 3% is not going to work for them. The Minister of Finance going forward to unilaterally during that midterm budget policy statement to announce that indeed they are going to be going forward with the 3%. This is something that was presented also, they say, at the Bargaining Council. So they started at 1%. And they initially then moved to 3%. And we're hearing that this actually in its entirety, it amounts to 7.5%. But this is something that the workers were saying that it's disingenuous of a government to go ahead and enforce this unilaterally, abandoning the bargaining process. This is where we saw them saying that even before, government's announcement in Parliament, there was already a process that was set to sit on the 30th and the 31st of October back at the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council to say that government indeed went ahead and jumped the gun in announcing that 3% when there's still a process that is underway at the Bargaining Council. So we saw them doing good on their promise to go back to the Bargaining Council on the 30th and the 31st. This was earlier this week to try by all means to, convince government to reverse that 3% wage offer, or at least, move up from the 3%, because it's something that is not going to work for their members. So we saw government as well this week sending through its representatives to try by all means to meet with the negotiators from the public servants side. And that actually culminated in a stalemate. The talks have deadlocked as we speak right now. The public servants have made it clear that they are looking at downing tools sometime this month. So the challenge right now being the fact that there are those that have already received a certificate to strike, and others have declared a dispute and they're waiting for a certificate to strike. So this process of a non-resolution this week actually will culminate in others then getting a certificate to strike, and then they'll still have to give that 7 days notice to the employer to say that we're giving you 7 days, and then after 7 days we're going to be downing tools. But then the rules, the picketing rules are being set, and we saw them this week already starting with the picketing rules, and they're out in their numbers every lunchtime, with their members just going through different sectors. The unions have been tasked. So what we saw this week was just the shop stewards that were there outside the Bargaining Council to picket, but they've been tasked from Tuesday already to say that you need to go and then give an update to your members in terms of where we are with the employer. We're not finding each other, and this is looking to us actually downing tools. So what happens is that, for instance, right now the PSA, they already have a certificate to strike. SAPU, they have a certificate to strike. They can actually just declare to down tools anytime from now. But they're consolidating their efforts with other unions to say that we went into this process united, and we're going to go to the streets united. And they made it clear outside the Bargaining Council, Nastasia, earlier on in the week that they're going to actually ensure that even essential workers are roped in to join in on the strike action, saying that a government has been using its muscle to try by all means to say that you can't strike because you're an essential worker, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you can't strike. And that, they say, is further victimizing the workers that have to contend with the dire socioeconomic challenges that exist on the ground. So they were saying that they're looking at also just obtaining a legal opinion, to see how they can force the hand of the employer to ensure that there's no further victimization of the public servants, your nurses, your doctors, if indeed they decide to join in and then down tools with their fellow, colleagues. But where we are standing right now, it's them balloting their lunchtime pickets that are underway in different sectors, and they're looking at next week as well, just early next week. They're going to be holding a press briefing to give us some sort of an idea in terms of their way forward, because you know very well that this is a strike action that will be devastating, for South Africa. The last time we saw a strike action like this, Nastasia, was in 2010. So they are looking at repeating that. And then as well, government was forced to indeed, in the last hour, to offer the workers what they want. They're saying that went on for a month. And then they're looking at this even going beyond a month. They're targeting also the ANC's December elective conference. So you can imagine that most of these workers, they form part of COSATU. COSATU is a tripartite alliance with the government, ANC. So they're saying that it's going to be interesting in terms of how the support would be going forward. So we're looking forward to them actually just announcing how this national demonstration, this shutdown is going to play out. The picketing rules are there. This gives them some sort of a marching order in terms of what to do and what not to do on the day. But it's pointing to that, the downing of tools by the public servants.
Before I let you go, what happens next? What should the viewers and the audience be looking out for in terms of where you're going to be taking the story?
So the viewers must be looking at the unions also reaching out to them as the public to say that most of these workers are your aunts, they are your mothers, they are your fathers, and they're members of the public servants. So you also need to stand with us and not see it as if like we are victimizing you by pulling out where our services are concerned. They are hoping that when they're down tools and then they march or they announce how this is going to play out, they're hoping that also the nation and the public would be behind them to just more or less force the hand of government to say that things have not been going well. And as much as that mother who's a public servant is struggling, then it filters down to the family at home in terms of the provision and the food prices that are going up, the electricity that is up, and also the petrol price that just went up this week. So they're saying that really most of them have been battling to make ends meet. They are essential workers, but there's nothing tangible that shows that you are an essential worker. They don't have houses, their cars are being repossessed. A litany of challenges that they laid to us earlier this week outside the public sector coordinating bargaining council, in saying that really at this point in time we can't afford to retreat or surrender. We need to unite as all the federation. FEDUSA was there, COSATU was there, and what else? The public servants were there as well, association, to say that we need to make sure that we force the hand of the employer, and SABC as well was there to say that if indeed the strike action goes ahead, we're looking at it being so devastating to a public office. We know nurses, hospitals, police, the police stations, safety and security, those are going to be compromised if indeed that legal opinion that they're obtaining as we speak comes out to say that there is a way that we can even force the essential workers to join in when we announce that day where we'll be seeing industrial action. But they've planned rolling actions in the lead up to that shutdown. On the day, the plan. So we'll be seeing most of them just picketing, marching, and gathering that momentum in an indication that they're showing the employer that it's pointing to the downing of tools.
All right, so Katlego, thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure the viewers will definitely be following the story, and let's hope it doesn't get to that. Let's hope they do actually find each other.